This is the story about the mine town of Wickes, Montana. This old town is located about 20-some miles southwest of Helena. The one common thread about old mining towns is how fast they could come together and how fast they could disappear. Wickes, Montana was no different. What started as a silver camp deep in the gulches of Jefferson County quickly grew into a booming smelter town, only to go quiet again just as fast. Like most towns of its kind, it got its start because someone struck silver. That someone was part of the early lode mining crowd that explored and prospected this mining district in the 1860s. The first real buzz came around 1864 when the Gregory Mine was opened up and the hills started echoing with picks and drills. But the mine that really changed everything was the Alta Mine. That one was discovered in 1869, and it turned out to be a big, steady producer. The original developers were local outfits, but by the mid-1870s, serious money moved in. A company out of St. Louis bought it up and called themselves the Montana Mining Company. They later reorganized under the name Alta Montana Company, and it was under that banner that Wickes really started to grow. However, there was a problem with Montana's silver camps back then, that problem being there were hardly any smelters. You could pull ore out all day long, but without a place to process it, you weren't getting rich. So in 1877, the Alta Montana Company built a full-fledged smelter right there in Wickes. That kicked off a building boom the likes of which you only saw in the most hopeful of camps. At first, this was probably the only mine town in Montana that never had a saloon. However, by 1883, Wickes was becoming a full-blown town. We're talking over 1,500 people, 16 saloons, 5 dance halls, boarding houses, hotels, meat markets, a pharmacy, blacksmith shops, the works. A school went up. The Wickes post office was established in 1883, and the town had everything a miner or merchant could want. It even had 2 railroads. First, the Northern Pacific ran a spur line in by the end of 1883. That connected Wickes to Helena and the rest of the world. Then the Great Northern came in later, giving Wickes the rare distinction of being a 2-railroad town. That meant ore could get out fast, and supplies could come in even faster. Besides the Alta and Gregory, other mines worked the area, including the Lion, Climax, Iron Chief, and Little Alma. Some of these were absorbed by bigger outfits over the years. One of the most notable operations nearby was the Comet Mine, just a short ways off, which kept running and was eventually part of the Basin Montana Tunnel Company. But back in the 1880s, it was Wickes that held the smelter, and that made it the heart of the region. Like all boom towns, though, the good times didn't last. In 1886, the Gregory Mine just shut down one day, putting a bunch of miners out of work. In 1893, disaster struck. The Wickes smelter was gutted by a fire. That same year, the nation was rocked by the panic of 1893, and silver prices tanked. Even before that, things had been slowing down. The Alta Mine's richest ores were running pretty lean, and without high-grade material, there wasn't much reason to keep the smelter going. After the fire, they never rebuilt. To make matters worse, another fire in 1900 took out a big chunk of the business district, and yet another in 1902 burned what was left of the old town center. By that point, most folks had already moved on. Some tried to rework tailings or do small-scale operations, but Wickes was mostly a ghost town by the early 20th century. The post office limped along until 1964, long after the last real mining had ended. And then, in a strange twist of fate, modern mining came knocking again. In 1987, the Montana Tunnels Mine started an open-pit gold and silver operation just 1.5 miles northwest of the old town site. It produced for years, but that work never brought Wickes back to life. You can still go to the old town of Wickes today. It's just south of Helena on Interstate 15 and then west a short distance of Jefferson City. Along the road you will see the old charcoal ovens that were used for smelting ores. The old tunnels mine is also close by on Alta Mountain. Well, folks, I sure hope you enjoyed this story about Wickes, Montana. Be sure to watch some of my other Lost Mine videos coming up next, and we'll see you all next week. And before I forget, remember to like and subscribe.